Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to Books My Quiet Friends. My name's Sidney and today I'm here to bring you my March wrap up and my April TBR. So at the moment I'm currently reading Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I have about 40 more pages. I know, why haven't I finished this yet? Procrastination. But I'm really enjoying it so far. And I should be finished it by tonight, so there will be a review on my Goodreads if you're interested. My audiobook right now is After You by Jojo Moyes. It's the second book in the Me Before You series. Yes, that's what it's called. And so far I'm actually liking it a bit more than the first one just because I'm enjoying learning more about Lou and her struggles with things, if that makes sense. Yeah. You'll hear more about that in my April wrap-up, I'm sure. So most of the books that I read in the month of March I don't actually have a physical copy of, so I'm just going to be talking about them. The first book I read in March was Winter by Marissa Meyer. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. Overall, I really liked the series. I thought that it was a really creative way to do retellings, but I do think that the series was a little overhyped for me, and that led me to not find as much enjoyment in it as I could have. The next book I listened to in the month of March was Into the Still Blue by Veronica Rossi. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is the third book in the Never Sky trilogy, and I really loved it. I think it was my favorite book out of the whole series. I think that I loved the characters, I loved the way it went, I loved the change of the setting. Overall, I think it was just an awesome book, and I liked the way that it was a dystopian in the way that I miss dystopians being. It wasn't just like trying to cash in on the dystopian trend. It had something to say for itself. The third book I read in the month of March was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Well, this is a very popular book, obviously. It was turned into a movie, which I'll explain why I mentioned that. I read this book for my local book club. I had watched the movie a few years ago, so I kind of knew what was going to happen. I kind of forgot aspects of some of the character traits and whatnot, but overall I knew what was going to happen and what the big twist was. So I only ended up giving this 3.75 out of 5 stars. I will say that I like the fact that Gillian Flynn, Gillian? We're gonna go with Gillian, was able to write such unlikable characters. That's something to be admired. It's hard to write an unlikable character and still keep a reader interested in the story. And if I hadn't watched the movie, I think I would have liked the book a lot more. That being said, if you've already watched the movie, I wouldn't really worry too much about reading the book. You kind of spoiled yourself already. I told you I have a lot of books that I don't have the physical copy of. The next book I also listened to, and that was Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I do believe this is her second book that she's put out. The first book I read by her was We Were Liars. I really enjoyed it. While it was controversial, I thought it was a really interesting thriller, mystery type deal. This book was also very interesting. This book is also a thriller, I would say, and it takes place from the past to the present. It starts with a present chapter or two, and then it goes to the past into where we are now. I thought that the characters were very interesting. It was very dramatic, but in a good way. It was addicting to listen to. That being said, I wish I would have read a physical copy of this book because I think I would have gotten more out of it. Sometimes I felt like I was missing things and I had to rewind a little bit to double check what I had heard to make sure that I was hearing it correctly. The fifth book I read this month was The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I devoured this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This book is about the Black Lives Matter movement. Everyone has heard about this book at this point. I think I can agree with what most people are saying, that you should read this book. Whoever you are, it doesn't matter. You should read this book. The ideas and the themes behind it are important in today's society, especially if you're from North America, but also if you're not, because you won't necessarily have these experiences, but it's important to learn about them. And if you have had experiences similar, maybe you could relate with the characters and feel like you aren't so alone, if that makes sense. I will definitely be reading more work by the author. I loved her writing style. I also really loved the family dynamic in this book. Maverick, Star's father, is one of my favorite characters throughout the whole story. I just want his background story forever and just to watch him be a great dad. Always. The sixth book I read this month was Struck by Jennifer Bosworth. Bosworth? You know, whatever. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. That's maybe why I'm not so concerned about saying the author's name correctly. This book as many books I apparently purchased, was told to me to be like Red Queen, where there's lightning and powers and blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't describe it as that is all. This is very apocalyptic, like it's during what you would believe the apocalypse is. It follows two kind of cults who are after this girl who is addicted to being struck by lightning. That's pretty much the gist of it. At this point in time, I don't really see myself reading anything else by this author. I didn't really care for her writing style. I found it to be bland, and while this book is short, I think it took me 2.5 weeks just to get through it. And I just don't want to spend time on something I have to work hard on reading, if that makes sense. You know? So little time, so many books. The final book I read this month, book 7, was Baby Doll by Holly Overton. This book I had heard about right after I finished reading Room by Emma Donoghue. I think that's how you say her name. And I was really interested in picking it up, but I didn't want to pick it up quite yet. I wasn't quite ready for another book that contained kidnapping as a theme. This story follows Lily, and it changes perspectives between Lily, who was kidnapped when she was a teenager, her kidnapper, her mother, and her twin sister. So it's kind of following them and their feelings as she escapes, and then post-escape as they're trying to bring justice to the person who kidnapped Lily. It also has a child in this book named Sky, who is Lily's daughter via her kidnapper. Just so we can clarify. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. I really like this book. This is an art copy, so I don't know how much of this content was moved onto the printed published copy. But I will say that the ending was a little over dramatic for me. I found that it's already a pretty dramatic situation, and the author kind of just took it above and beyond what it needed to be. And I found that to be kind of frustrating because overall I thought that this book was important and it was heart-wrenching, and I think that it was an interesting read. But the ending twist just kind of threw it a little too over the top for me. So those are the 7 books I read in the month of March, and now for the books I'll be reading in the month of April, I hope. The books I plan on reading in April are Fangirl, obviously, After You by Jojo Moyes. Those I hope to finish in the next week or so. The other audiobook I would like to get to is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. It's over here somewhere. I have a physical copy, but I did really enjoy the Percy Jackson books on audio, so I think I'm going to keep reading Rick Riordan's work on audio. I also would like to listen to Every Day by David Levithan. I started it and then my copy expired from Overdrive and I kind of just let it go because I got After You and I thought I've been waiting for After You for a hot minute, so chose that one instead. But yeah, that's my audiobooks plans. My physical books are interesting. I'm not going to use the TBR jar this month because I have some catching up to do as per usual. So my local book club's pick for the month was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, maybe? I was really excited because I actually already own this book and I was planning on reading it at some point anyway, so now I can get it off my physical TBR instead of taking it out from the library. It's handy. This upcoming month I'd kind of like to do a little bit of series catch-up, so I plan on reading Behemoth by Scott Westerfield and Goliath by Scott Westerfield. This one I actually ordered online for rather cheap, but this one's a library copy, and this is also a library copy until my physical copy gets in. So yeah, these I hope I can get through this month. They're pretty quick just because the font is rather large and there are illustrations. So here's hoping I can get through these. 2 other books that have been on my TBR for a minute are Legend by Marie Lu. I picked this out of the TBR jar, I think last month. If I really like this, I plan to continue the series this month. And then The Honker, which I got for my birthday in March, was Dragonfly in Amber by Diana Gabaldon. I loved Outlander, as you probably might already know. So I really want to continue with this series, and I plan to read one every other month because they are rather large books. Like, how many pages are you? Too many. Just kidding, I'm still going to want more by the end, as per usual. Okay, close to 750 pages. And they're like Bible thin pages, tiny font, but I really love the characters and the storytelling in this series so far. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Other than that, I kind of just plan to catch up on series and read whatever I'm feeling like, which is a weird thing that I don't normally do, or pull from the TBR jars as I go. So we'll see how I'm feeling. Who knows? I hope you guys have a great reading month. Tell me what you were most excited to read last month, what you enjoyed the most, and what you're most excited to read this month in the comments if you're interested in doing that. Yeah, let's start some discussions. Alright, we'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye!